Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Welcome back to another preview for the Newcastle Knights versus the One New Zealand Warriors round 6 fixture. Been played on Sunday evening down there in Newcastle, and joining me for the very first time on this channel is the Nighttime Podcast. How's it going? How's it going, guys? It's great to have you on the channel.
Yeah, good mate. Thanks for having us on.
Hello.
G'day.
Yeah, so no worries. It's great to have you on. And first things first, I want to get to know you guys. So, how did you start off your podcast? Like, how did you start it off?
Well, that would be Dean's brain. He's the brains trust behind it all. What we did was we won a season pass to go to the Knights games. Like growing up, my parents weren't into football, so I didn't have a lot to do with football. And then I met Dean, and we just had to submit a photo of our daughter in her supporters gear, and we ended up winning a season pass. And we started going. Like Dean had been going for many years, so we started going as a family. And then Dean's like, "Oh, I want to start a podcast because I love the Knights and I love talking about football." And yeah, it just started from there, and we haven't looked back.
And just give something back. Just be involved with it a bit more and give the fans insight into rugby league too. So it's like our motto: by the fans, for the fans, because we're just fans like everyone else. So, but yeah, love the Knights. I've even got a big Knights tattoo on my chest. My whole chest with a symbol ripping through it. So. Love me Knights, and stayed even through 3 or 4 years of wooden spoons and went to every game. So yeah, we love it.
Yeah. So, did you guys grow up being rugby league fans? And who was your favourite Knights player growing up watching, as a past or a current player right now?
Yeah, I did. I went to the first ever Knights game back in 1988. My auntie actually worked for the Knights and took me in there. And then local legend Gary Harley for the radio down here took me in to meet my childhood idol, the Chief, Paul Harrigan. Just idolised him growing up. And the day I actually met him in the old change rooms there at the time, it was Marathon Stadium, was just a highlight of something I'll never forget. That and the 97 grand final. I've been to a lot of different games, but nothing will ever compare to that day.
Yep. And what game did you, when you went to a Knights game, what game did you enjoy, like going to, attending, or what was your favourite memory of a Knights game that you watched?
Mine would have to be, without a doubt, probably the most, one that always will stand out will be that 97 grand final. Our backs were against the wall, with no one expected us to win, and just all the way from the stadium, like the crowd went berserk, but all the way from Sydney back to Newcastle, every sort of traffic lights, people were out of their cars dancing and carrying on, and it was something I've never seen before and probably will never see again. And that's the one game that stands out for me. Always will. But of recent, probably the night David Clemmer got standing ovation for being sent for 10 in the sin bin. That was something pretty special too. You don't see that very often, but that was one that stood out for me.
What about you, Corey?
Well, for Knights, as a kid, I used to go to a lot of games with my old man, and watching, there's always the Brisbane and Manly, those games always used to pack out. And back in those days, you could probably get 35,000 people in. And the old hill, remember the old hill that we used to have? Yeah, so
hill.
Yeah, so that was a good memory for the Knights. I'm not a Knights supporter, but growing up, but as I said, watching football here, I'm mad football orientated, and just going there was the highlight. Watching them two teams actually go at it were always a good memory for me. So, And still to this day, Newcastle and Manly have that hate rivalry. So
Yep, yeah, and who did you idolise growing up as a player, like a past player?
are we talking Knights here or me
Yeah.
personally? Because
Yep, Knights. Yep.
Okay, well, look, Paul Harrigan. Obviously he's a local from my local club, junior club, and a Mura as well. And I went to school with a few Knights players in time, Owen Craigie and Pete Newton, and so I've been around those guys a bit in time. So I'd have to say probably those guys.
Yep. Well said there. Yes. So why don't we get on to the preview now? So the preview of the game. So I'm going to go through the Warriors team list, and one of you guys can go through the Newcastle Knights team. Since you guys are the guests and the Knights are the home team, why don't you go through the Newcastle Knights team first?
Yeah, no worries. We'll do, mate. Fullback, we've got Lockie Miller. On the wings, got Dominic Young and Greg Marju. In the centres, Dane Gagai and Bradman Bass. In the halves this week, we've got Phoenix Crosland and Jackson Hastings. Forwards, Daniel Saifidi and Leo Thompson in the front row. With Jaden Brayley at hooker. Tyson Frizzell and Lockie Fitz in the second row with Jack Johns at lock. Interchange of Kurt Mann coming back in this side after the HIA. And Jack Everington, Matt Crocker and Brody Jones.
Yep. As for the Warriors, I'll go through their lineup. So we're the away side. So Chance Neil Cook start fullback, Edward Cozy on the wing, Viliami Valle in the centres with Adam Pompey, Marcelo Montoya on the wing there, Tamari Martin's back in the halves with Sean Johnson, Adam Fanua Blake's the prop and Wade Egan's the hooker, Bunty Ufoa is the prop there also, and Jackson Ford in the second row with Bailey Sirenen and Tohu Harris, the captain at lock there. So the bench is Dylan Walker, Josh Curran, Jazz Savanga and Tom Ale, and the reserves, 18th man, Dylan Watini-Zalesniak, Tane Tuapiki, Freddie Lussick, Ronald Volkman, and Dimitri Safakula there. So that's the lineup. So, I don't know what happened there. Oh, they disappeared. And, so those are the lineups there. So I don't know what happened to the Nighttime podcast. Don't know where they disappeared. Oh, great. They disappeared. I don't know what happened there. Harris is still 50-50 chance to play. This is Jacko. Yeah, he is 50-50. Hang on. They're back.
Oh. That connection from one end.
I'm not too sure what happened there. Okay. So that's the Warriors lineup. So what are you guys' thoughts on both teams? Firstly, on the Knights. What's your thoughts on the Knights team this week?
Mate, it would have been good to see Tyson Gamble still playing at 6. But he's out with the HIA 11-day turnaround.
Yep.
But in saying that, Kurt Mann comes on to the bench, which I think you might find last minute change. You might see Kurt Mann slide into 5'8" and Phoenix Crosland push back to the bench. In saying that, I like our side. We're starting to build some good combinations with Lockie Miller at the back as well. I'm pretty confident, but I look at your side too and see. I mean, there's some, building a pretty good side in the Warriors this year as well too. So I don't think we'll have it all our own way, and I think it might be a good contest.
Yep. Well said there. And what are your thoughts on your season so far, the Newcastle Knights? How do you think your team is progressing so far? Because you've had some injuries, no doubt about it. The Knights have had a few injuries. Kalen Ponga as well with the HIA, and he's over in America, isn't he? He's back now, I believe. So you got a few injuries. You had Jaden Brayley get injured as well. So what is your thoughts on the Knights season so far?
Yeah, a couple of injuries at the start of the season too. Like at one stage, I think we had 6 or 7 regular first grade players out, but we're starting to get a few come back. I was. It's a bit of a hard but a good situation to be in, I suppose, with us at the moment, with Tyson Gamble playing so well at 5'8", and Lockie Miller at the back. I mean, we all know Kalen Pong is a superstar, but I mean, where do you put the bloke when he comes back with the team playing as well as they are? So I was quite happy with the last few weeks the way we're progressing, and I mean, if they keep going the way they are, the combinations are going to start gluing and sticking and open up more doors, and yeah, it's going to be a lot better season than it was last year, that's for sure.
Yeah, and on Kalen Ponga, just quickly, I want to ask you guys on Kalen Ponga, are you a bit concerned of the amount of HIAs that he's suffered recently?
You're concerned.
Yeah, I think so too. I think teams, when he comes back, no matter where he plays from 1 to 13, teams are going to target him. And to be honest, I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see him not getting a few head knocks soon. You know what I mean? Like they're going to target him. So yeah, let's hope he gets in the right position and learns to tackle right. But yeah, it's not looking good, to be honest.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on the Warriors so far this year? The Warriors have suffered obviously a couple of years now with the COVID-19 and not being able to play in New Zealand. But what are your thoughts on their season so far this year? Because a lot of people weren't expecting the Warriors to be doing this well, even though it's only 5 rounds in. What's your thoughts on them so far?
I love it. I love seeing them win a few games because they've had a rough trot with COVID and not being able to be in their home country. I think it's great. I've got a soft spot for the Warriors. I'd love to see them in the finals. So if they get there, I'll be cheering them.
I would too. I honestly think that the NRL and the NRL fans actually owe the Warriors a lot of gratitude, and for what they did for the game over the COVID times too. Left their families and stuck with it over here. I mean, they could have said, "Well, that's it, we're going back home." But to their credit, they stayed here and really stuck it out. So, to be honest, I would like to see a few more games be taken over to Auckland as sort of a little thank you to the fans that missed out, whether it be rep teams or even a state of origin game or something like that. As a even if it's a one-off thing, but something to really say to the New Zealand fans and the New Zealand Warriors club was we really appreciate what you've done over the COVID times.
Yeah, I've got some questions here actually from some of the viewers. They want me to ask you some questions. So the viewer here, JC, is asking, what are the Knights fans' thoughts on the after match Hastings with Talau and Clemmer?
Yeah, it wasn't a good look for either side. But I guess we don't really know exactly what was said.
Yep.
But yeah, unfortunately, we got 2 players that initially didn't want to leave each club, but it's happened. Accidents happen on the field. Whatever happens on the field should stay there, and I'd say they've all moved on from it. It was just a heat of the moment incident. And I think Clem and Hastings are 2 professional players that will move on from that, and you might see a little bit of niggle next time they play, which makes it exciting. And but yeah, I don't think you'll see any of that off-camera stuff anymore.
I do believe that particular week, Tommy Talau did ring Jackson Hastings after the dust had settled and apologised. Yep. So I think nothing more to see now. Just move on and play footy.
Yeah, and viewer here, Jacko, is asking, what's your thoughts on Adam O'Brien? What's your thoughts on Adam O'Brien?
It's been a hot question over the last few months around here, but I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know. There's only so much a coach can do.
Yep.
I'm not one to sit here on the panel and say he needs to get the job or he needs not to, because at the end of the day, it's up to the players to perform on the park. I mean, if they're all getting along and there's no in-house dramas there whatsoever, I'm happy for them to stay if we're starting to get results like we are. But if ever were to leave, I'd get the Walker brothers as a coach. But at the moment, I think he's doing a pretty well job. So maybe if it's not broken, don't fix it, eh?
Yeah, well said there. And look, in regards to both teams and my thoughts, I thought the Knights have already got a very good team. I think they've pretty much got a strong side, and I think the fullback there, Lachlan Miller. I mean, what's your thoughts on him so far this year, Lachlan Miller? He's been pretty good for you guys.
He had a bit of a quiet game just gone, but every other game he's played really well.
I think he'll bounce back from last week's performance. He was a little bit, in his mind, probably underperforming and being back at home. He's only played a few games for us at home, but he seems to really thrive at home there in Newcastle. So for a bloke that's played probably, 12 NRL games, I mean, he's looking pretty good. A lot of people are saying that, all these people, different players with different clubs, they're by the year. Well, I'd throw him up for us as what he's doing for Newcastle is going to be up there for, the buy of the year for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, yep. And who's standing out for you? Like in terms of the Knights player so far this year, who's the one player that for you is standing out the most?
For me, it's Greg Marzu.
Yep.
I know who I'm going to say.
I've got two that are really standing out for me. I'm a big Tyson Gamble fan. I think he's getting in, having a real dig. And I like his mongrel that he brings. And he gets in the minds of players. So when you're coming up against a Cody Walker or a Jerome Luai, and you get in their mind and get over the top from there, you've got that game, in your hands already because you get in the mind of it. And I think he does that well. But another one that's really, I think, coming on leaps and bounds this year is young Leo Thompson. Played in the Maori All-Star game this year, and I'd say learnt a lot from the likes of James Fisher-Harris and what's his name from the Raiders, Joseph Tarpany, I'd say, and he come back from there and he's really, pulled his socks up and wound up really trying to fill that void that Clem left. But then you got people like Daniel Saifidi, Tyson Frizzell never lets you down, same performance every week, and even someone like Dom Young. He had a bad game the other week, but went back to reserve grade and absolutely killed it, and then come out last week scoring 4 tries. So, yeah, there's a few that I'm really impressed this year, but I can't go past Gamble and Leo Thompson.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Dane Gagai and Bradley Best. I mean, these guys have already said, what Thompson and Brazil, but they're all playing well. But Gagai sticks out for me. He's back in career best form, and it's good to see Bradley Best on the park, injury free, and he's been a bit of a beast, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah. Well said there. Yeah. So on to the key matchups now. So what sort of matchup on the field are you looking out for the most?
Well, Fennell Blake. I'm really impressed with Fennell Blake since he's left Manly, going to you guys. I feel he's really turned into a different player again. So that matchup with Daniel Saifidi would be a good one in itself. Even Costa at the back with Miller. And Jackson Hastings and Sean Johnson. There's just 3 in itself, key matchups that, would be good to watch. And then, you got Tyson Frizzell and Sirenen in the back. But I tell you one player I'm really impressed with too that I didn't like, but I was starting to turn on. Dylan Walker. Since going to the Warriors, he's changed again. I think really turned his game around and got a lot of the garbage out of it, playing some good football. But I mean, a lot of your guys too, all your centres and that, with our centres will be a key matchup with Gay Guy and Best and Adam Primary and that. I think all over the park is just going to be an absolute. I think it's going to be a bell ringer of a game, and it may not be the Channel 9 match of the round, but in my eyes, I think it's one of the matches of the round. To be honest.
Yep. Yeah, and I think for me, obviously, the halves battle there between Jackson Hastings and Sean Johnson, 2 very experienced players, and Sean Johnson, especially last week, and especially the opening couple of games of the season, has been good. So, I think his battle with Jackson Hastings could be a key to the game on on Sunday.
It's just a shame that Tyson Gamble isn't in. He would be matching up his former teammate, Tamari Martin, both former Broncos. So that would have been a key, interesting matchup too. But yeah, maybe semi-finals time, eh?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and I think the hookers battle as well. Wade Egan up against Jaden Brayley. Wade Egan has been outstanding for us this year, and Jaden Brayley's a pretty good young player for you guys.
He's a tackle machine, isn't he?
Wade Egan is a very underrated player. When he was with Penrith, it was an absolute dynamo. And then gone over to the Warriors and stepped up a gear as well. So him and Josh Curran are really, to me, they're very underrated. And, I mean, if we don't watch them pair, they can pull our pants down, that's for sure.
Yeah, and especially Wade Egan, he's been a bit of on a try-scoring form to start this year as well. So I think the Knights would definitely probably need to be good defensively to watch out for Wade Egan, because he's someone that a lot of people don't expect to score a lot of tries, but he's done pretty well so far this year. Anyway, so what are you guys' keys to victory for both sides? So let's say the Knights. What is the key area that you guys need to have on your game to win this one against the Warriors?
I think Dom Young needs to stay in his wing.
Yeah.
He tends to come off his wing a lot and let some tries through. But
to me, I think we need to have Kurt Mann playing at 6 with Jacko to take some pressure off Jacko. And if our forwards are going forward, those pair can work their magic and hopefully get some early ball to the likes of Bradman Best and the likes of that. And just as long as we're going forward and no silly mistakes and penalties, and you just, like you said, keep an eye on your key players like that and shut them down early. Well, hopefully the home crowd advantage too might help, and that Newcastle chant might be able to rattle the Warriors a little bit and get us over the line.
Yeah, just going through the comments here. So Jacko's saying there that he reckons our bench is quite lead for the Warriors bench. What are your thoughts on the Warriors bench and your bench? Who do you reckon's got the strongest bench out of them all?
Oh, to be honest, my opinion is I think they're pretty level. Like Dylan Walker, Curran, some classy players there. And then you look at Kurt Mann, Matt Crocker and Brady Jones are, some two younger guys that, will give you 100% every game, and they will never let you down. And Jack Everington as well is another journeyman that's been with Penrith, and the Dogs are now back with us, and he gives 100% each time. And I reckon our benches are pretty level. So yeah, that's a hard one to split, that one really.
Yeah. I think both teams are pretty evenly matched in the bench as well, and in the starting side. So, just a question here, actually, what is the weather forecast for Newcastle on Sunday?
It's supposed to be fine.
That could have changed because I'm pretty sure it was raining all weekend. So we'll just check the weather girl. She can get the weather, but it's been raining off and on here today.
Just cloudy, 21 degrees at the moment, but that could change.
Yeah, cloudy at the moment, but it's supposed to rain in the next 2 days. So the pitch is usually pretty good. It drains off pretty well, so it shouldn't be too boggy.
Yep. Yeah. So the betting prices actually do have the Knights at $2 at Sportsbet at the moment, and the Warriors at $1.81. What's your thoughts on those odds there?
Dead on the Knights.
I think, to be honest, it's pretty even contest. Look at both the teams; they're both pretty good on paper. Like I said, it's just going to be who's better and more hungry on the day, I suppose.
And as long as the ref just let the game flow.
Yep.
Yeah, as long as we don't have Stevie Wonder in the bunker like we did last week with the Bradman Best try, so we should be all right. At the end of the day, lose or draw, as long as it's a good game, and entertaining, and like I think it will be, I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it's fairly refereed and there's no controversial decisions and calls.
It was pretty close the first round of the season, so I can't see any different this time around.
Yeah, and we can't underestimate you guys. Even though we won last week against the Sharks, I think the Knights, this season, I know they've been in some games. Actually, they've been in every game. It's just they've had some injuries that have affected their side. So I think you guys will, being playing at home in front of your home fans. It's generally tough for an opposition team to go to Newcastle and play against the Knights. So obviously, for me, as the Warriors have started off slowly in a lot of their games so far this year, it hasn't really affected us so far, except the Roosters game. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Actually, as a Newcastle Knights fan, what are your thoughts on the fact that the Warriors have started off some games really slowly?
Yeah, but every game's different, I suppose. We tend to go to sleep in the second half a lot. So, I mean, we could get out to, let's just say a 12-point lead, and we seem to drop off, and then you guys could come flying through. So, no matter if you start good at or slow, we're still going to watch it for the whole 80 minutes. Otherwise, before you know it, you're back in front, and we're losing. So,
Yeah.
very happy with the way the Warriors have been playing this year. So, yeah.
The game for me was the week before when they played the Dogs and they had a dodgy call, and probably years gone by that the Warriors probably would have kicked dug their heels in the sand and probably would have turned over. But the way they fought back to win that game, and then obviously even last week, the resilience that they're showing, very impressive. And to be really honest, both teams have been very impressive so far early on this season.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah. So head-to-head stats, actually. So just read this. So both the Warriors and Newcastle Knights played 44 times. For the Knights have won 21, and the Warriors have won 22. So, and there's only been one draw. Now, the win record at McDonald Jones Stadium, the Knights won 61 354%, and the Warriors only at 42% with 8 from 19. So what is your thoughts there on those head-to-head stats? Because they're, again, very, very close.
Yeah, they are, but I'm not one to go on stats a lot, because every game to me is different.
It's on the day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the day, and you got a total different team to all those other stats as well. So, I mean, who would have thought that? Well, to be honest, I didn't think the Warriors would be as good this year as they are, and I'm glad they are. So, yeah, I think you can throw them stats out the window, and this week's a whole new ball game, and it's, to be honest, I think it's going to be quite an exciting game. It's just a shame that Barney's not coming back home to play his first game at his old stomping ground.
Yep. And just one more thing before getting into the whole predictions and try scores for the game. What are your strengths and weaknesses for the Knights going into this one on Sunday? And where do you think the Warriors can target the Knights?
For me, if their forwards get on top of our forwards, I think the likes of Johnson and Tamari Martin will work their magic. And I think the nickel clock status has been outstanding at the back too. So their spine's been really good. So it's fine. Strengths and weaknesses there, I guess. So,
Yep.
I think so too. I think a lot of it. I think it'll be one in the forwards. Whoever's forwards are going forward and giving their backs a bit of room to move. It's going to go a long way to winning. But yeah, Vanilla Blake is from a Knights perspective, is a big worry because very impressive the way he's transitioned over to the Warriors and become an actual, a better player and a real asset to the team.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on Jazz Tavanga and Josh Curran coming off the bench? Because Josh Curran, he hasn't really been getting a lot of game time, but when he played last week against the Sharks, he was outstanding. So, what are your thoughts on Josh Curran?
I'm a huge fan, to be honest. He's another one I reckon look good in red and blue over here. Would take him. He's a very underrated player, and can come on and just spark something out of nothing. So I mean, he'll be another one we have to really keep an eye on. And Jazz Devonga, yeah, what a machine he is too. So I mean, yeah, it's a good bench to have. He'll come on and give Fanua Blake or Bonte a rest, and it's still, you get one of those blokes off, he'll come on and just provide that spark in the middle as well. So you're not losing anything by them going off having a rest.
Yep. So on to the last part of the preview is the predictions. So predictions for the game, a margin and the winner, and some try scorers, anytime try scorers. So how do you guys reckon this game will go? Do you reckon it'll be a very close contest, or do you expect this to be a high-scoring game? What are your general feelings going into the game on Sunday, and what are your predictions?
I think it'll be a fair few tries scored, but it won't be a blowout score on one side. I reckon that both sides are capable of putting on a decent scoreline. But my predictions would be Dominic Young and Greg Marju to score a double. I think they'll be.
Nice, yeah. Well, what about a prediction as in terms of the margin, and obviously you guys are going to back the Knights in, but what margin will you be backing the Knights by?
26-18 for me.
Got Knights 28, Warriors 24.
I haven't got a score, but the Knights will win by 6.
Yep. Yeah, I've got the Warriors to win this one by 8 points. I think it'll be very close. I'm going to go Warriors by 8. Try scorers, I'll say Wade Egan. I think Wade Egan will get another try. He's a bit of try scoring form. Edward Cozy, and for the Knights, are going to go Dominic Young and Bradman Best. I think Dominic Young's a pretty good shout for a try scorer, I think, for the Knights for you guys. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the preview for tonight. I'd like to thank you guys for coming on. Nighttime podcast. Go and check them out. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure, mate. Anytime, mate.
No worries, and thanks to all the viewers for watching this preview. Make sure you do go and check out the Nighttime podcast. Put a link to their platforms in the description down below, so go and check them out. And also don't forget to like the stream as well. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well. And thanks everyone for watching, and go the Warriors on Sunday. Cheers everyone for watching.
Thanks, champion. Appreciate it.